Kelly, Jocelyn.
Morning.
Morning.
Responding to one more work email before I go to swim practice.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
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 Sue. What is your background, Marley?
It's a pufferfish.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, again. Good morning. Good night. Good morning, Diane.
Hiya.
Hi, Cindy.
Hey,
It's good to see your face.
nice to see you.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Hanging in there.
Molly.
Yeah,
Hey,
wearing this shirt in honor of Mindy.
Yeah, I didn't know Mindy myself, but I was thinking about having a moment, or maybe even being a topic during our breakout, that if somebody knew a story they could share in your breakout group, because I wish I'd known her.
yeah, me too.
I know her only through Facebook, but she just has such a presence.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll wait just another minute before I realized last week on Thursday we had like 20 people and that I didn't even introduce myself. So a little better job today. And I've got people booked out almost through the end of May, but
That's awesome, Shannon. I think that's so cool.
it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But at first I was thinking it would end by May, but I don't know if people are interested in continue going into the summer since they're mostly canceled. We may as well keep at it.
And, even if they're not canceled, you know, it's a nice thing to have this kind of nationwide conversation because always we just see each other as names on Facebook. So this is really, this is so cool.
I've certainly enjoyed it. Sometimes you can catch up with people even more or learn more about them than you can at an event where we're all just getting ready to go swim the whole time, swimming the whole time.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll just keep having it until it doesn't seem relevant anymore. So if anyone wants to be a guest into June, let me know.
Well, you guys are all have so much more experience than I do. I'm kind of just taking my slow way into this.
That's yeah, I just gotta do what you're ready to do. I don't think it's slow or fast or
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with my speed, but you know, it's just like one step at a time. I am not. The only thing about it is that at 69, I'm not getting any younger, and I want to be able to do some of these things before my body gives out.
Yeah, I feel that way. I'm not 69, but I feel that way about my body sometimes. It's a beautiful thing about marathon swimming, I think, is it is easy-ish or easier on the body than some gravity-induced sports.
Yes, I know it. I'm running. I was starting to run, and then my heels started hurting, so now I'm walking.
Yeah. All right, it's about 5 after, so as I mentioned, I forgot to introduce myself last week, but my name's Shannon Keegan, and I have a little business called Intrepid Water. I'm trying to support and encourage budding locally. We don't have a lot of marathon swimmers, so I mostly try to help get people in the water and help them get people in the water. get them swimming. But I also love virtually or however encouraging people and supporting them in marathon swimming. And since events that I had created for this year and events that I was planning to go to, all just kind of fell by the wayside. Created this forum for getting to know people, and it's really taken off. And every time I talk to a marathon swimmer, I feel like I'm finding a kindred spirit, and it just makes my heart soar. So thank you all for being here and sharing your stories. And I look forward to a lot more conversations. But we'll do our breakouts today. And if you knew Mindy or heard of Mindy, I think she'd be a good person to talk to if you have a story to share in your breakout group. And if you didn't, you can just meet each other. We'll come back at about 20 till, between 20 till and quarter till, and we'll meet Cindy. We'll get to know Cindy a little bit better. It looks like we have a lot of new people today, which is super exciting. And at some point in here, I am going to grab a screenshot, whether you're smiling or looking funny or not. And maybe I'll start announcing when that happens. But okay, we'll do 3 to 4 people, and I'll see you at about probably quarter. Look on your screen on the bottom left. Sometimes there's a little like video camera that you can turn on. There you go.
Hi, I have some more scary hair. I did it just for you.
You got to keep it real for sure. We're in our breakout rooms right now doing today. I didn't know Mindy, but I'm aware of her passing, and I was telling folks if I had a story about Mindy Bowens. Did you know her, Suzie?
I met her once. Not last year, but the year before. But didn't know her. I mean, I literally like met her for, very, very briefly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but it's just like, what's that situation?
Yeah.
There we go. I was having a little trouble getting mine to work, but finally I'm back.
Your Ben Dodge.
Oh yes, Ben Dodge. I shall fix that.
No, it's so good. We were just let's see. So okay, your breakout room looks like it still has that. Whoever was in it, looks like they're still there.
Yeah, I tried, but I couldn't.
You got neglected if you leave. But
did Diane make it? Did Diane make it yet?
Yeah, she.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Because I know she was trying to make the link.
Yep, she's
nice.
Well, yeah. So let's see. We have just a couple minutes before we join the big group again. Should we do a quick round robin and introduce ourselves? You want to go first?
Oh, sure. I'm Alyssa Langlais. I'm in Massachusetts. And I've been doing a little bit of swimming, which is nice. Chilly, but really nice to be able to get out. So, yeah.
Bridget, what about you?
Hi, I'm Bridget. I'm in New York State, up on Lake Champlain and Lake George. I swim in Lake George, hopefully later today. It's a little chilly this morning, but I don't care. My lake, and I get to play in it. Alyssa, have you been posting pictures on the Boston group?
I not recently. No, I've posted a couple of things.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure if you're the person with the swim cap.
Oh, I don't know. Nothing. I don't have anything strange. So.
No, I wasn't thinking strange. Somebody just posted that they managed to get in the water somewhere near the Boston area or Walden, and I'm just trying to picture what you would look like without hair. You know.
There's a few people. Yeah, I definitely have heard there's a few people in Walden.
Yeah.
I do Kingston State Park in southern New Hampshire, and then sometimes Stiles Pond in Boxford, Massachusetts.
Yeah. Well, if you ever come
and I know a few people are at Kingston swimming. So I think Cheryl. Oh God, I've lost her last name. Wow, Bob Fernald and Cheryl, lost her last name, just posted in Boston Open Water that they were in Kingston Sunday. That might be what you saw.
It could be. Yeah.
Suzie, do you know these lovely ladies? Do you know Bridget and Alyssa? No.
Hi.
Hi, Susie.
I'm not swimming. Well, I swam for the first time since March. Had to walk 8 miles to do it,
Oh,
but I got in.
good for
Wow.
you.
Our
Yeah.
restrictions are much tighter.
Mhm.
So we're not supposed to drive to swim, to drive to recreate. And so that's what I did. I walked.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's some commitment.
Yeah.
Felt really good. You know, and I can do it again. I could break the rules a little bit, but everybody else is, so fuck them.
Well,
So
I'm lucky because I don't think anybody else in my area has put feet in the lake yet. Once in a while, I'll see somebody from like the boaters group where a kid will go cannonballing off a dock, and that's about it. So nobody else
Wow.
here wants to.
Mhm.
So I'm like,
yeah.
it's okay.
Wow.
Sometimes you have to be more careful though with boats and things like that. I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like in I guess the area I live is pretty rural too, and it's
Yeah.
more other. Whether I'm swimming one or two people, that's not what I'm worried about. It's I'm worried about the people that don't respect that there's people in the water.
Exactly. No, I've been
Make yourself
cultivating the
safe.
boater community.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I always have
All right, I'm gonna invite
kayakers.
everyone
The boaters around us are pretty scary.
back.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can't, like I said, we can't drive. We're not supposed to drive to recreate. So it doesn't, yeah, that's the limit.
What's it
It's
like
just-
walking around there with
I'm in a very urban area.
yeah, but I mean,
Oh,
like,
you wore a
is
shirt
it nicer
today.
to walk with 8 miles in an urban area
I
than-
was tired. But it felt good. Yeah.
Hi, Alyssa.
It was a nice
Hey,
day.
John, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Have you found a buddy to swim with yet?
I found one day on Saturday. I got in 40 minutes. It was about 47 degrees.
Wow.
Don, I have a new friend
Wow.
for you. I'll email you.
But I'm still trying.
Hi,
It's,
Diane.
it's tough.
Hi.
That's when I got in, about 45. And it was
Wow.
hard.
I wish there were open water nearer to me. But I have not got, I've not, at 45 or 47, I'd be still needing a wetsuit. And the lowest I've gotten without a wetsuit was back in Aquatic Park 2 years ago, where I got to 53 without a wetsuit. But
It gets better.
hey, Bridget.
Hi.
All right, so you guys ready to meet Cindy or get to know her better? Whether you met her or not.
Yeah, I need to meet Cindy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do.
All right, Cindy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I was one of those babies who pretty much my mom, whenever we were out near the lakes, she was away from the water. So I don't really remember how to swim. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and in Chicago suburbs, pretty much you, as a kid, if you wanted to do anything, you did it through the park service, through the park district. So I swam with the park district. I went to the park district pools. We lived a few blocks from them. So as a kid, I would just walk over in the morning and swim during any open free time. And then it got to a point where I wanted to swim more. So that meant finding other times I could get into the pool, which was swim team and synchronized swimming. And then I would convince my parents to go during family hours. So I was pretty much there from 9 in the morning till they closed at 9 at night, with the rule that I had to come home and have lunch, but I had to get out of my swimsuit during any time we ate at the table. So I swam in high school. I wasn't one of the fast swimmers in high school. I was one of the swimmers who got the 5th and 6th place points. And I think my coaches kept me around for a little bit of team spirit and motivation for the other folks. And then I swam my first year in college. And my first year in college, I realized that I wasn't really enjoying the team atmosphere where I went. So I pretty much, the light switch turned off and I didn't go back to the pool. for 20 years, about 20 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that was my swimming background, I guess. And then I returned to swimming basically because I was walking down the street in San Francisco and I saw a sign for Escape from Alcatraz, the triathlon. And I think my mind was pretty much blown that you could simply swim from Alcatraz to San Francisco City. And it completely opened my mind to a different way to explore the waterways and to get in the water and swim. And that was a motivating force to basically get in open water. I thought I had to do it through triathlon. So I did that for the first few years. And then somebody mentioned to me that I didn't need to run. So I was like, again, my mind was blown. So I started just doing biking and swimming events.
Awesome. Yeah. I feel similarly about like getting my mind blown, like, oh wow, you can swim places, like having been a lifelong swimmer, but not really realizing the way she could do it.
Transportation.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite place to swim, Cindy?
My favorite place to swim would definitely be the Willamette. So I like it's right in my neighborhood. It changes throughout the years. So the temperature, the flow, the current, I have the ability to go 9 miles upstream. And so I could do that, or I could go downstream for 16 miles. So I've got a lot of length there that I can swim. And I can be swimming through like a natural area, past little cabin-like houses, past huge mansions, through downtown, through industrial areas. So it just has the variety that I really enjoy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Now, what is that? What body of water did you say that was again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The Willamette River. Like if you were to say, damn it, but Willamette.
It's in Portland.
Yeah, it's in Portland.
Okay. We've got the Schuylkill here is where most of the open water swimming takes place, including triathlons.
Yeah.
Schuylkill is kind of a mixed bag, and you can get some great sections of it in the Philly area. There's also some dams and some super shallow places. So it sounds like this one has a lot of consistency, what you're talking about.
Yeah, the top 27 miles of it, 28 miles, yes. There's a dam in Oregon City, and below that dam in the southern and central part of Oregon, of course, is going to run shallower and faster. So those parts of the Willamette I haven't swam. The river itself is, 200, 300 miles. So it's a long river.
So when are you going to do the length?
Well,
You've thought about it.
one other gentleman did the length, and when I first got into open water, I had the luxury of swimming a short section with him. He did it in a wetsuit, and he's a lymphoma survivor.
Wow.
And he's more of one of the adventure swimmers that's similar to the gentleman in England.
Yeah.
Ireland. Anyway.
People too.
So yeah. So I don't know. That one's not really right now on my radar, but yeah.
Cindy will be happy to have you in the Mid-Valley anytime.
Yeah.
Come east and come to our Charles Bender swim. Bridget did that. She can
It's a
tell
nice
you.
one.
Yes.
I do love rivers.
Why do you swim marathons, Cindy?
I swim marathons because I feel like the training and the moment that I'm in the event, I feel like I learn a lot about myself, and it's never what I anticipated learning. My first few years that I did it, I feel like I learned a lot of really negative traits about myself. and then try to, the next time I was involved in a swim, try to manage those emotions better. I felt like there were definitely times when I first started swimming that I forgot about all of their life around me and probably wasn't the best person to be around. When I got those race anxieties and the just the short-sightedness of what I was doing. And I really wanted to learn to be able to do both, to be able to swim and to be a pleasant person to be around, and to not, you know, be snippy with my partner and to give up on my work and things like that. So I feel like each time I take on a swim, like it's like a peeling away an onion. I feel like every time I find a new little corner or something that just kind of needs to be evaluated and just
That's such a great image.
thought out. So
Yeah, I love that. How do you describe the feeling of completing a marathon swim?
pretty much when I finish, I'm like, thank God that's over. There's a lot of relief. A lot of relief. I'm not one of those person who breaks into tears or jumps up and does a little dance. I pretty much pull myself into the boat or stand on the shore, and I think I have probably like 15 or 30 pictures of me standing bent over with my hand on both my hands on my knees, just kind of shaking my head in like disbelief that that just happened, and that I, just not being able to fully comprehend what just happened and how tired I am and what it means for the next swim. And so pretty much happy to be done.
Yeah. What's your all-time favorite event that you've participated in so far? So these are hard ones for me. So my all-time favorite event, I would say, was my swim last summer when I swam around Sauvie Island, or attempted to swim completely around Sauvie Island, in the Columbia, in the Willamette, and the Multnomah Channel. Those are all the bodies of water that surround that island. I would say that was my favorite, because when I did that swim, there was a sense of serenity and calm that I had never experienced. Well, I'd experienced it a little bit when I swam in Search and Mumphrey, but I would say that when I did that swim, there was such a calm and completeness that I felt within every moment of that swim that just was something so surreal that I never experienced before. So that would be my favorite swim.
And how long a swim was that? Was the distance?
So the distance of that swim is 38 miles. I did not make 38 miles. We went 22, 23 against current, and then I finished another 4 to 6 with current. I don't have all the exact numbers, so.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something you would
challenging to swim against the current? I find that one of my toughest things in swimming is to go against the current, and so I'm impressed that you can go 20 something miles to against the current.
Yeah, current. I swim against current all the time, back and forth. So in the river, so I feel pretty in tune with it. So, I mean, it slows you down, so it makes that section longer. But it depends on the current. Sometimes it feels like you're getting to fight against something, and that gives you something to focus on. And sometimes it feels like you're swimming a little stronger when you do that. You have more to grab on. For me, I'm not always as comfortable swimming with current pushing me, because I feel like I relate it to running on a walking court. Like I feel a little bit more off balance. Yeah.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Because now the Schuylkill one. Yeah. Go.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Cindy. What's the swim you're most proud of?
So I alluded to this a little bit with your post, Shannon. I have two for this. I feel like the swim that I'm most proud of is always the swim I do after a big event. It doesn't matter if I succeeded in that swim or failed at that swim. It's always the day or two after when I get back in the water. Mark's seen it. Chris Graefe has seen it, where I've, like in Tahoe was pretty intense for me to get back in the water that day. Sorry. So after a swim, you know, you're just so tired, and you're starting over, and you're at that place where pretty much, you know, the day before you felt like a superhero and you felt like nothing could stop you. And then when you have to get back in the day after a big swim, it's kind of, you're just back right there where you're going to be the slowest, most fatigued, and most probably unmotivated, for me, of any of my swims, wondering if that magic is still there, wondering if you really like can pull that stroke, if you get in, if you're just going to say, this is it, I'm never doing this again. So to me, those swims are very scary, and they're very emotional. And the fact that I like have to get in and do it, and I do it, I'm always proud that I did those swims. So those would be my proudest swims. And if I had to pick another one on a different angle, my other proud swim was when the first year in 2018, when I brought the team of Yetis out to the 24-hour relay. Because that swim, when we all went out, none of us really knew anything about cold water swimming. We came together as a group, we trained, we figured it out together. We had the goal of the 24-hour relay as a group. We showed up, everybody got in, everybody swam their rotations, and without having any history behind us or any type of, any type of thing to live up to, I feel like the group came together and they just exemplified our little group spirit that we have here swimming, and just kind of showed the world at the 24-hour relay who we were and how we take care of each other. And it's not that I'm proud of my swimming that day. I was proud of the group and how we swam that as a group. So that would be one of my happiest.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, you guys were. I loved your costumes too. For that 24-hour.
Yeah. Always a fun event. Are you a process or an outcome person, Cindy?
So this probably will surprise a lot of people, because I think everybody assumes I'm a process person because I process a lot of things.
I think you're an outcome person.
But after thinking about this and hearing everybody's answers, I definitely am an outcome person, and I will say why. It's not the outcome of the medal or finishing the race, but as I mentioned earlier, I fully expect that when I begin to train for something and I'm setting my eyes on an event, I have a purpose in mind of trying to understand something about myself or work on something about myself. And so I'm very driven to get myself in a situation where when I'm at that event, I can be fully aware of what's happening, and the uniqueness of the time allows you to really kind of like enter into that moment. So I would say I'm always wanting to get something out of my event in that regard. So it's definitely an outcome driven thing.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm glad. Thank you for the introspection on that. That's I haven't figured out why I'm an outcome person, but I know that that's usually it for me. How do you adapt to changing situations?
Very much like I think Janine mentioned. I love change. It's what I've kind of done with my career and different aspects of my life. So I'm very comfortable with change. Again, I don't like stagnation. I don't like the same, I don't like the same swims. I don't like the same conditions. I don't like, you know, flat, easy water. I'd rather like look forward to an hour of wind picking up and beating on me and then a current change. Or so I like the change. I like it as an opportunity to kind of figure out how to adapt to it. And then with my nursing, you can't ever expect how you started your day to be at all what you're going to do for the rest of the day. So I'm pretty comfortable with like thinking about all the different possibilities and kind of always having that in the back of my head that at some point in time, I'm going to have to pivot and adjust and be flexible.
Yeah, cool. How do you handle hard situations?
I take a lot of big, deep breaths and just freaking run into it. Yeah. So again, I don't know if that's part of my nursing skills. I don't know if I learned it in nursing or I'm a nurse because of the skills, but we walk into a lot of situations that, you know, make you immediately have to react to something you never expected to see that day. And you like have to put on your game face, take some deep breaths and convince people that there's absolutely like no need to panic when you're panicking completely inside. And you have to just like be that calm force. And so I feel pretty good about dealing with hard situations. Where I find the biggest struggle is when all the dust is settled, then I fall apart and people don't know what to do with me. So
Here, yeah. Know what you mean. Well, it's because you just kind of cut it out, right? And then you get to the other side and you're just like, it's such an emotional toll.
Yeah.
But the people who looked up to you during that hard time, they don't know what to do. Like, oh no.
No. And they usually haven't seen you like that. They've only seen you a certain way. And then they kind of like fall apart a little bit, watching you fall apart, and then you have to console them or not, or it's not comfortable. So, and I would say in those situations, I've tried to work with my crew to explain to them like how I do fall apart and when I do, and kind of how to like maybe manage me a little bit. So that's, to me, that's part of like what I've tried to do when I prep the people who are around me during a difficult challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that at work too now. Like I've got a couple code words that people will just say to me if I am starting to get all wound up and, you know, maybe on the edge of losing something or being a little bit too blunt with some people, doctors. So.
They need that.
Oh, they do need that. But
Cindy, can I interject something? Because I was crew for you once, and I'm just going to say this to the group, you know, that calm that she displays, and I think that's the thing that comes from the nursing, can be very deceptive to the crew because it will seem like, hey, she's got this under control. And so that can be a sign as someone becomes like the calming force, that's a coping mechanism for dealing with the stress. And so when we were on that, I think it surprised a lot of us how calm she was, that she seemed like she was on top of it. And that was actually, I think, a coping mechanism that if I were in that situation with her again, I'd see that coming and know what was happening at the time. So it's my 2 cents.
Yeah, in those 20 hours, I don't think I asked for very many things. And when I did, I had very important things I wanted, and it just didn't maybe come across. I mean, a few of them did, so.
That's tricky. Again, though, good on the introspection front. What's the hardest part so far of the shelter-in-place quarantine situation in Portland for you?
There are two things, and I talked about it a little in the breakout group. For me, it's very, very hard to not be encouraging people to swim right now, and to not be like saying like, hey, I'll meet you at 10 o'clock here. Because that's the person I am, and I'm the person who at least like tried to coordinate getting people together. And I don't feel right now is the time for me to be encouraging people to swim as groups. And I don't feel like it's time for me to be telling people to swim alone, because I don't think people should be swimming alone. And I'm very nervous about, well, in my river where I live, I mean, it's everybody's, you have to look at the environment, and we've got a lot of fishermen on our river right now, a lot more. And to be swimming without a kayaker in the Willamette in the stretches I swim is.
Oh, you definitely have to pick your time and place.
Yeah. So, and then the people who are asking me about doing it or that I'm seeing doing it alone doubly scare me. So I think that's a hard part about this time. And then probably not a surprise to quite a few of you, but I have a huge amount of guilt around this time because I feel like I want to be doing more, especially with my nursing. So we're not a hot spot. So I'd really love to like be able to go to those hot spots and just, again, dive in and be right where they absolutely need me, where I'm hearing the calls. But then I also understand that I need to stay here. So there's a lot of guilt there.
Can I jump in on that and be a really, channel my inner mom here? I know that that's not really where we are, but you are in a place that needs you. And even if it's not a hot spot with this virus, from what I'm seeing as a non-nursing professional, you just flat out never know. So you are rescue ready. And it's like lifeguarding for 20 years without having to pull somebody in. You are needed where you are. You are absolutely and utterly critical. And do not underestimate the impact you're having. Because the other thing that I'm seeing with this COVID, with the guilt that comes up, because everybody who can do stuff wants to do stuff. I started my adult life coming into the AIDS crisis. And I don't know where that is on your professional continuum. But one thing about this situation that I'm finding so heartwarming is that it's being addressed in the best interest of every single person, whereas AIDS was not. So you and your profession are doing exemplary work. Do not underestimate yourself.
Okay.
When you can, you do what you have to do because you are making a difference. They also serve who only stand and wait. All right?
Okay.
You hang in there. Don't beat yourself up. We need you. All right, I'm done now.
Okay.
Little mom moment. Sorry.
All right, just two more quick questions, Cindy. What advice would you give to an aspiring marathon swimmer?
I would definitely tell them to leave their ego at the shore. I would tell them to really examine their hubris, because I think some of the best swimmers that I've been with, are pretty quick to not listen maybe to our advice or take note of what we're doing when we're on the shore, because they think they know better, maybe because they got in once or twice. So I think just kind of watching, like slowing down, not talking so much, and just watching what your fellow swimmers are doing. If I'm swimming with somebody local, even though I have the experiences I do, if I'm swimming with somebody local and I see them putting on 2 caps or doing something that I've never done before, and telling me which direction they're going to swim, I'll probably follow them because I figure that they probably know better than I do those bodies of water. When I go to San Francisco, I follow those local swimmers. I ask them why they made the decisions they did. I try to learn from them. I always try to, set all my experiences to the side and learn from them. So that's what I would suggest for new swimmers to do as well.
Excellent. And who do you think we should have as a future guest on Marathon Swim Stories?
I have two I really would love to hear from. Michelle Macy, out of Oregon. She, I've swam with her, and we've chatted, and it's always been some fairly short, intense conversations, and I feel like I have so much to learn from her. And it, you know, we had just started doing a lot together and really I really started to lean on her quite a bit this past winter. And I feel like we kept saying we should get together for coffee, and it didn't happen. So I'd love to hear from Michelle Macy. And then maybe on the other end of the spectrum, somebody who just finished their first marathon swim, Kristen Valentine. So she's one of our local swimmers. She doesn't come from a swim background. She used to do some very, very intense competitive mountain biking. Very, very skilled, high level at that. And she's just kind of jumped into the sport. And I would love to hear her insight of what she's experienced in her first 2 years of doing cold water and marathon swimming.
Cool, good suggestions. Thank you.
Yeah.
I might need that in with Michelle Macy, but I know I could talk to Kristen.
Yeah. You can talk to Kristen. I can get to Michelle's contacts.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. And a quick screenshot if you want to put on a smiling face. And we'll see you on Thursday. We're talking to Kellie Latimer.
Woohoo!
Thanks, Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you, everybody. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great Tuesday.
Yay.